I thought I heard something when I was shooting the video. You see my little friend right there on the other side of my garden? What's up, sweetie? Hi guys, Brandy here. Welcome to Sowing back. I'm in the garden, but I'm not doing anything in the garden. I'm right next to my chicken coop. And I kind of wanted to talk about, we actually had it really warm today. And the next couple of days are going to be warm before a bunch of rain comes in. And then I think we're due to get some cooler temperatures again. I wanted to talk about winterizing your backyard flock. Particularly if you just do like backyard chickens, you don't have like a barn or whatever. And I just wanted to I wanted to give you a couple pointers. And I'm losing light, so I'm going to try to go through this kind of quick. This will probably be a shot over 2 days because I won't be able to finish this before it gets dark, but I wanted to get this part of it done. So first of all, as we're moving into winter, but a lot of people will be starting to talk to you about how to winterize your coop, and there's a lot of things that I have seen since getting backyard chickens that's just not correct, and it's sometimes a safety issue. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you about is, I think the biggest safety issue you see most people talk about is putting a heat or heater of some sort, heat light, in your coop, and that is not necessary. Chickens are warmer blooded than we are. Their internal temperature is somewhere between 105 and 107 if they're healthy. The only exception, I think, to this are the bantam silky varieties. They're a little bit smaller, but you just need more of those, that's all. And I think the rule of thumb that I read early on was if you had 4 hens roosting, together, they're at least 40 degrees in that coop, just having those 4 hens. So you do not need a heater. They are prepared to live in the elements. The other thing I would say is, I have seen on my Facebook feed, and I'm sure you have too if you love chickens, are all the little chicken smocks and sweaters, and don't buy them, don't crochet them. They're really not good for them. They hinder them in their movement, and they also can actually overheat them. So and not only that, if another hen started pecking at that and it unraveled, I'm imagining that the yarns and things like that are probably not good for them to ingest. Okay, they're cute, so maybe if you want to put it on and get a picture, but then take it right off. So they don't need a sweater. They don't need the sweater weather. They can handle the sweater. As a matter of fact, my chickens prefer the cool to the hot. The heat is much more difficult on them than the cool. The other thing I want to tell you is, if you do happen to get snow, if you're a place where you get a lot of snow, you need to make sure that you have some place for your chickens to go that is not in the snow. Chickens a lot of times do not like the snow, and they need to have a place where they can kind of keep their feet out of it. Some people say the same for rain if you live in a real wet area. I know in the spring, this last 2 years, we've had lots of rain, and that's why it's so important to change out your pine straw, whatever you're using, to try to help mitigate that. They don't normally like their feet like that. So be mindful of that they just need a place to go. For us, we actually have an area under our coop that's totally covered. We also have a second run in our big girl coop that's totally covered. The other coop is covered. We actually have a lot of places where they can go, and they're not going to have that. And even our big extended run that we did, we have it covered with shade cloth, and I'm so thankful I do, with all the new news coming out about more cases of bird flu. I heard on the ag report they were talking about Tennessee has had several cases, and I think 3 different cases with backyard flocks. And it's spread from wild birds that go overhead, and they have droppings and stuff like that. It can also be spread if you have a water, a creek, something on your property. That's why they talk about biosecurity with your coops. And if your chickens are covered, then they should be safe. You do want to be mindful of maybe the shoes and things like that that you wear into your coop to protect your animals. But I am thankful that we have ours covered, because we do have birds that fly over and migrate and all that stuff. And it's just really not been an issue for us. I do have my chicken, well actually these are now my bee boots. I used to have chicken ones, but these are what I wear into my coop and run area. They are for that. And so always good to get you a pair, and that's what you would wear in. Also, in the winter months, your chickens a lot of times will get bored. You're not going to have a lot of stuff coming out of the garden typically for them. And when they're bored, they fight. And if you don't want that, then you're going to want to entertain them. And, you know, early on I bought chicken swings, and my kids did, and they actually have, we also got a chicken musical instrument where they can peck on it. Yeah, they could care less about the swing. They have pecked on the instrument a few times, but the thing that they love is I have this little, it's like a big ball that closes up on a chain, and you can put cabbage and stuff in it, and you can hang it, and they like pecking at that. That's a fun thing for them to do. Just putting a pumpkin in there or two is always a good thing. Making sure they have, if you go, I know at our feed and seed, they actually have these big blocks of suet, and or they also have some that is scratch, and they just have different things like that that you can put in there to kind of entertain them, so that they'll peck on that and not each other. And it just kind of breaks it up, and especially if the ground is hard and frozen, they can't really peck and scratch like they like. One of the ways that we have in our indoor, it's not indoor, but inside runs where we have metal roofing on them, we actually do the pine pellets, and that's like hours of entertainment for them, because they like to break open those, and then they dust bathe in there, and it gives them something to do when they can't go out, or they may still go out into the big girl run, but if the ground's too hard or not able for them to scratch, they can still get that motion in through those pine pellets. We actually get those. The pine pellets we usually get at Tractor Supply. I will say they've been harder to find this year. We finally got some and got stocked up. The other thing you want to do and consider is adding some extra protein. Again, that helps cut down on the fighting. Also, it's good this time, dusk is a great time to throw them some scratch if it's going to be chilly or cold that night, particularly scratch that has some corn in it. Corn is not your enemy. Just make sure you're getting a good source. But that cracked corn, it takes more for them to digest it when they're asleep, and it helps warm up their body temperature. So when it's the coldest part, that's going to help keep them warm, and they will appreciate that. That's why I don't give them scratch with any kind of corn in the summer months, because it's hot here in Georgia and it's very humid, and so that would not do them any favors. The other big important thing is water is so important year-round for your chickens. They need fresh water every day, and a lot of people have the watering systems where they don't have to go and water every day. Well, if it's freezing, they're more than likely they're going to freeze, and so you have to go out there and unthaw them, make sure they're unfrozen, that water is flowing for your birds. The other thing is the bedding. Now, we only clean our coop out. We do a deep litter method, and we clean our bedding out twice a year. Now, it may change next year because we're getting ready to modify the big girl coop. It was made to hold at least like 12 good sized laying hens. I have 4 in there, and in the smaller coop I have the other 6 who roost in there. And the other coop is totally, can be sealed off from the wind and everything for winter. It's a better coop, where the other one is probably better for summer. And so what we're wanting to do in the next couple weeks before we hit winter, we're going to merge all the girls. We're going to take the roost out of the little coop. We will close it up in the afternoons, and they will have to go into the big girl coop. And so with that, we'll have more birds in there. So at that point, we may have to clean out the coop more regularly, but it still shouldn't. It might be every 3 months instead of every 6 months. And the reason we're able to do that is because we use hemp bedding. And hemp is amazing. It is an amazing product. If you haven't done any research on it, you should. It is just, it's just amazing. I'm excited for my own home state because they're actually, there are farmers now who are getting approval to actually grow hemp in our state. They're doing different tests and stuff like that. But hemp is so good for the environment as a plant. And so I could sit here and talk a long time about hemp. I won't. I'll just tell you, you should do your research on it. It is an answer to a lot of issues that we have in our world today. And if people were really serious about our climate and the health of our ecosystems and things like that, hemp. That's all I'll say about that. So just be aware of that. A lot of people are told one thing, but when you actually start learning and seeing the what is it they say, the devil's in the details, yeah. So do your own research. And you may find out that a lot of things that you're being sold on any side, they follow the money. That's all I'm going to say about that. So we use this hemp bedding because hemp bedding is so absorbent. You have no smell. You can't, it's essentially, you cannot build up that ammonia or any of that stuff. All I do is I periodically turn it. I have a kitty litter scoop, and I'll go in there periodically and scoop up poop. You know, if I see some that doesn't compost in, but as you're doing the deep litter, most of it just compounds into place. Or not compounds, compost into place. And it's amazing. It's just an amazing thing. Now, the only exception, I don't like this as much in their laying boxes. And I had been using some straw that was like on a mat, and I could change them out periodically. And they got kind of expensive. So I'm going to be trying something new for the laying boxes that I ordered off of Amazon. And I can link it below. I can't tell you if I'm going to like this or if my girls are going to like it. But I like the idea of it because they're cut. So this is like the shape of my laying boxes. And it's soft. It looks like grass. It's like fake grass or whatever, but it can be washed. So like if it gets dirty, if you know, had a muddy time and your girls were laying, you can go wash it, let it air dry, and then you can reuse it. And I like that better than just throwing money down the drain on the other. I can compost the other, however I found it not to compost very well, which is why I found these. And so I'm excited to give those a try. The last thing I wanted to tell you for winterizing for your chickens is to keep some kind of petroleum jelly on hand, because if you are going to get into a deep freeze and you're going to stay there for a while, you're going to want to treat their combs with that, possibly their feet, but definitely their combs, because they can get frostbite. And so that petroleum would help protect that if you know you're going to be in a deep freeze for a period of time. So those are some of the tips I have for your chickens. The other thing I'd say is, you know, taking them treats, giving them sourdough, all those good things. are good for them. Visiting with them, even if it's cold, you know, put on your coat and still go out there so that your chickens are used to you. And especially if it's a backyard flock and you have kids and things like that, where you want to keep their temperament the way you raise them. So there are different sources for the hemp bedding if you're interested in that. I will tell you, when you see it first, like this is a big, this was 33 pounds when it was full. I have another one in my garage because this isn't enough to clean it out. We'll use this plus at least probably half of the 33 pounds to do the coop in there. And you could put more in there, you know, but honestly that's about what mine needs. And I think our coop is I think it's 16 square feet or 20 square feet. It may be 20 square feet. I think it's 20 square feet. And so that's pretty much what we put in there. One of the reasons I like it, as I said, is it cuts down on that. You don't have an ammonia smell. This stuff, as soon as it gets wet, it dries. It's amazing. It is amazing. And I started out with this in my coop. This is not recommended if you have a brooder, because little chicks can eat this and they will pass away. So that's why the pine shavings are usually what people, or straw or something like that, that will tell you for chicks. But once you get through that first 3 weeks, that's all you need. And I wouldn't do it in a brooder, only because it gets kind of messy in the brooder as they're growing up, and I don't know, that might be a little expensive. But when you see the price of this, I think these are running about $60 to $70 for the 33 pounds. But I spend that twice a year and I'm done. And I'm not out here cleaning out every month, having to clean out my coop. I literally can go in there when I'm changing water with the kitty litter scoop and just pull out anything I needed to pull out. And most of the time I just turn it over and it just composts in place. No smell, no ammonia, no mold. We really haven't had problems with mites or anything like that either. I do usually put some DE when I clean out. I do put that in there. And now our run areas we tend to clean out a little bit more because we're using those pine pellets, and from the elements, and it's humid here, there's just times when it needs to be cleaned out more frequently. And so, but even that, since we've built the big run, it's cut down on a lot of that. So anyway, I just wanted to take the time to help you learn about winterizing your chicken coop. And I will let y'all know what I think of these in the next couple weeks. And I'll try to get some video tomorrow with the hemp bedding, what it looks like in the coop. It's just too dark at this point. Matter of fact, they're already starting to, some of them are already heading into the coop, so I'm not even going to attempt to start it tonight. But it's supposed to be a really nice day tomorrow, so I'm going to come out here and get that going. But I will get some video so you can see what this looks like. And I'm trying to remember the last time I looked at the pine shavings, if you did pine shavings in your coop. I think they're running around $6.99 a bag, and I would need several bags for the size of my coop to have any kind of absorbency, and I would be cleaning it out weekly. And so I'm telling you, this is so much more economical, and your chickens really like it, and it'll help keep them warm. And if you're really worried, you can always add a little straw if you want. I don't put straw usually in my in the coop. It just tended to get, I did once and it became kind of a mess, and so I just don't do that at all. But I do put it under the coop. In that area, they like to scratch through that. And of course, now that they have the big girl run, we put straw all through there, and they enjoy that. We had a video not long ago we showed when we went and filled it up, and we do that probably, if it's not too wet, we probably do that about every 5 to 6 weeks. If it's really wet, we may do it more frequently, just because it breaks down quicker. But anyway, that's what I had for you today. I hope you have a great day. If you found value in this, I'd love a thumbs up. If you're liking what you're seeing on our channel, we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel. Or if you know someone who has a backyard flock who might be interested in the information, we'd love for you to share it. With that, I thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye. This must be her babies. She's the mama. And they're her two young ones. Ooh.